Hi, good evening, everyone. It's it's Tuesday, December 6th. It's 4:50 p.m. here in Chicago. So I was gonna just briefly talk about Android. I'm not gonna say much, just that pretty much that I'm happy that he has a fight coming up, even though it's not with a big name. I'm hopeful that he will get a big name. Now, I'm not one who believes that just because he's with PBC, he'll get the fights. But at least he can try, I don't see where it means he'll definitely get the fights, but at least he could try, or at least, they can try, whatever. I'm happy that he's on Tank's undercard. If you are going to come back and you're fighting against somebody that, almost nobody knows, I think it's actually very smart to be under an undercard with a name like Tank Davis. I actually think that's a great idea. It's better than him, having too much pride and trying to come out with a name like that on his own. Much better under Tank's undercard. That was really smart. And then we have Boots and Rashidi fighting on the same card, but they're not fighting each other. I thought that was interesting. And Rashidi had called Boots out too, but I always think Boots is kind of uppity. He only seems to respond to the top 3 people or whatever. Boots is kind of snooty when the little nobodies call him out. So, but I'm hoping that when Rashidi and Boots see each other, at the fight, I'm hoping they get into some type of altercation where they end up, threatening to beat each other's ass. That's what I'm hoping. So we'll see. Also, I know it's none of my business, but there's a lot of beefing going on YouTube, like in the boxing community, and I'm pretty much cool with everybody, and I kind of feel bad because I can only imagine, like, you can pretend that that's not stressful, but doesn't that kind of stress you out that, people are calling your names and blasting you for over an hour on lives, and you gotta respond? Like, I imagine that that's a lot of stress. And you got your families and everything. Like, is there any way at all you guys can just, like, maybe if somebody but you know what the problem is? I think I know what the problem is. Even when you try not responding, there's always gonna be people, that's how they get their content. So it really doesn't matter whether you respond or not. So scratch that. I guess it just doesn't go away, Well, that's life. At least try not to let it stress you out. Also, salute to Tribe Biz. He talked about something today that I think is very important too. Tribe Biz, Wild Indian, he did a short live. I caught it afterwards, where he's pretty much, telling our people, stop eating all of these foods from these foreigners. And I know that doesn't sound like politically correct, but no matter how you make it sound, it is true. It is true. And it's not anything based off of racism. It's based off of just, different cultures and what is deemed acceptable by some versus what is acceptable by us. And I was actually in his live the other day, and I was telling somebody, there's a Thai restaurant not far from where I live, in a very nice location. So if you think restaurants are legit just based on their location, no. Their culture will still come first. And this restaurant, in this, again, really nice location, they got shut down for storing seafood wait till you hear this. They were storing seafood at 60 degrees. They found octopus and eel and all this kind of thing at 60 degrees. Like, what? Just put it out in the sun then. Just put it out in the sun. Why bother? Like, these people are too cheap to pay an electricity bill. And think about it. They're too bold. They don't even care about state regulations or the country's regulations. They don't give a shit. It's like, catch me if you can. So, I mean, I was dumbfounded when I read that. And then they found live roaches walking around in the refrigerator. They found rat droppings, of course. And it's just disgusting. Now, I'm not saying American restaurants don't do this, but I do think that a lot of times you will find a stronger occurrence of that type of sighting right there, like seafood stored at 60 degrees. Come on now. And then right nearby was a Persian restaurant that they had been shut down. It didn't say why. I think it said similar reasons, but it didn't cite the reasons. But this time they were shut down because they boldly opened back up and was serving people without even getting cleared. They had been cited and warned. They had the audacity to open back up without being cleared. These people don't give a fuck, man. These people don't give a fuck. And if you, like, when you think about it, if they're, like, a lot of these cultures, when you, like, get into a, like, private conversation with them, or, like, you hear them able to speak, like, really freely, a lot of these cultures are actually very proud of their racism. I know firsthand, so nobody can tell me differently. They're proud of their racism. They say things like, oh yeah, Asians, oh yeah, they're very racist. My parents, this, that, and the other, and you had to avoid the sun so you didn't get dark. And oh yeah, Asians are very racist. Oh yeah, my great aunt, and they got all kind of stories. They're proud of that shit. And a lot, not all, but a lot of Latinos are the same way. So here's my question. Imagine they got all of this food they got to serve, right? And some food is, let's say, inferior to other food. Some food is expired as of 2 days ago, whereas the other food is super, super fresh. And let's say they got a bunch of, black people to serve, and then they got a bunch of their own people to serve, and then they got a bunch of white people to serve. Who do you think is getting that expired food? Like, you gotta really, like, think about how this shit really goes down. And then, Tribe Biz was also talking about, just culture and clean habits versus nasty habits. I was thinking about how, now I do know some Americans that have nasty habits too, and it's things that they don't even, like, realize are nasty habits, like putting your nose over food to smell it, and other people got to eat that food. Putting your nose over, like, a bottle of alcohol or a bag of chips. Like, you have to put your nose over it. You don't know what kind of microparticles are flying out of your nose, and people just really don't know better. I actually follow this girl, a fashionista that I really like. She got her nose over every fucking thing, and it's like, she says, I'm a sniffer, I'm a smeller, but it's like she'll put her nose over things that other people have to eat. So some people have, like, nasty habits and they don't even realize it. I've seen people make lemonade, and it doesn't matter how clean your hands are. I've seen people make lemonade, and as they're squeezing the lemon, you can see the lemon juice fucking flowing through their fucking nails before it reaches the cup. That's so fucking disgusting. I don't care how clean your nails are. I don't care. That is disgusting. And people don't think twice about that shit. So you got people in the kitchen making you fresh lemonade, and you're looking at their home, and you're looking at how they carry themselves, and you're like, well, they're clean. Little do you know, they're in the kitchen making you lemonade, squeezing the lemon, and the lemon juice is flowing through their fucking fingernails. Like, that's some nasty shit. And again, it's not about if your nails are clean or not. It's about the practice. You know what I mean? I'll give you a perfect example. Suppose you're at a restaurant, right? And suppose your cook goes to the bathroom and doesn't wash his hands. Now, suppose scientifically he didn't get anything on his hands, nothing. Let's say his hands are just as clean as when he washed them. He got nothing on his hands. And he goes to the bathroom and he doesn't wash his hands, but he got nothing on his hands. And let's say you know that. Are you going to eat that food just because he didn't get anything on his hands? No, that's a perfect example. It's not about if you actually contracted anything. It's about the practice. That's a nasty fucking practice. So, you know, you really do have to be careful, you know, who you eat after, and you have to consider the types of things that happen, you know. Here's another thing I've seen people do. You know, people will be like using a fork to stir up, let's say, uncooked meat. It's not cooked. It's not all the way cooked, right? And they're stirring up the uncooked meat. They'll take that same fork and go stir through the greens or the spinach or whatever again. And that's already cooked. They're just stirring through it again. Now they done taken that fork from uncooked meat and stirred up food that they considered finished. Like, there's a lot of things to consider, you know. And then, like, even going to a grocery store, do you have to buy their guacamole? Because do you really know how that guacamole was prepared? Do you have to buy their pico de gallo? Do you have to buy their mashed potatoes? You can make that shit at home. You can make that shit at home, and you know exactly what went into it. You know that if you dropped a potato on the floor, you washed that bitch up and cleaned it with soap and water. You know that everything that goes into what you prepare is clean. And then even with that, you're not 100% sure, because you got to buy mayonnaise, right? And sometimes you never know, you might get unlucky and there's a bug in your mayonnaise. So you're always taking a risk, but it is much, much, much better when you prepare your own food. Try to avoid as much as possible. I see people just buying up egg salad and buying up prepared chicken salad and buying up prepared ambrosia. And it's like, I don't care if it is Whole Foods or not. Like, I don't know how people are just so comfortable buying this stuff up. Now, the chances of it being clean are good. I understand that. It's just, I don't know. Just don't get too comfortable. You know what I mean? Make your own egg salad. Make your own tuna salad. Like, are you serious? But that's all. But yeah, I'm happy for Andrade, and I'm so happy he's on Tank's undercard. Again, I think that is ingenious. Because who's really checking for Andrade versus Desmond? Unless it's on an undercard like that. Like, that's a fire undercard, man. Tank is the shit. I know I'm always talking shit about Tank sometimes, but Tank is the shit. His undercard is fucking fire. We got Boots Ennis, we got Rashidi Ellis, we got Demetrius Andrade, and we got Tank versus Hector Garcia. Like, salute to Tank, man. I'm going to forget for like this whole half of a year that he hasn't fought any tough black fighters. I love Tank anyway, but salute to Tank for having a great undercard. I still got my issues with him, but I got issues with everybody. And who the fuck am I anyway, right? But that's all. Thank you for listening, everybody. Have a good day.